definitely a wind of change is blowing. South Africa will come from elections.
Yes. Yeah. You see, this is what we need to be awake to as a world, actually, not just as a country. That every time a population goes to vote, there are certain mechanisms they want to see in play for improvement of their livelihood. And every state that is going to vote, like you've just seen the UK, the Labour Party winning is simply because of the labour migration issues that we've been having. And if you know, if you notice, if you may recall, there is a strong motion in the UK Parliament regarding the migration of workers, and do they migrate with their family members? But then they say there is a lot of pressure on their hospital fund and health policy. So every system and every administration that comes into office is geared towards listening to what the people want, listening to the voice of the population that you are out to serve.
And if you do not listen,
if you do not listen, you are punished immediately. We saw what happened in South Africa. For the first time, ANC lost popularity. They have had to go to bed with the DA, and DA is a right movement. ANC is a left movement. DA supports Israel. ANC supports Palestine, but they've had to come together to form a government because they could not listen to what the people wanted, and there was no majority move. Therefore, a population is what drives in every country. The US already, and like he says, I pity the United States of America, and they are perceived to be the superpower, that after analysis of all the populations, all the candidates they could have had for presidential race, they ended up with Joe Biden and Trump. So that's the best they have for the world. I mean, I pity them. I pity them. But that is theirs to decide. In November, Joe Biden, according to me, goes home. Trump comes back. You even begin to wonder, the concessions we made as a country, as a Kenyan country, with this recent US visit by the president,
a lot will have to change.
What happens to them? So there's a lot that is happening in the world. And when you look at it, it's a paradigm shift. It's no longer about the leaders deciding what they want to do. Mind you, we only have 208 presidents in the world. Just out of all the billions that we are, we have about 200 people leading this world, whom we have bestowed the honor of leading us as presidents, as prime ministers, as presidents basically. When they do come together and form all this, the NATO, the IMF, all these concessions we get into, all this ratification of policies we get into, they happen to decide what happens to the billions of the people in the world. If we get the wrong people in office, beginning here in Kenya, and all the way to the Far East, the countries are doomed. When you see, and allow me to say this, when you spoke about the labor migration, fine, it's a good move because people need to look for greener pastures. But at what cost? Why are we migrating people? I want to localize this conversation of labor movement and labor migration. Why are we migrating people to foreign countries? It's because purely we have failed to implement the industrialization policy. If we create enough industries, we are going to have a bit of economic stimulation and a bit of improvisation of the talents that we have in the country, and then create jobs, and then spur the economy.
Not securing jobs abroad for
If you secure jobs abroad, I mean, the much we can have is just...
But there seems to be a global reawakening of the masses, discovering that they have power over politicians. For the longest time, it has always been the other way around. But now the masses are deciding, okay, I think we have enough power. Even in France, with anticipated elections, Macron looks to be more or less
going home.
exiting.
What's happening?